Hello everybody. Wanted to do a video especially for the newbies or people who haven't even bought a camper trailer yet, or some RV that is going to use propane. How long does it last, and what all is using it? And there's nothing to panic about. When we first got our 2109S Rockwood Mini Lite, we took a 10-day trip to Carlsbad Caverns from here in Colorado, and as soon as I got back, I said, well, better go fill up the propane tank. So I pulled out the 30-pounder we were using, took it down, and had them fill it up, and it took $3. So it was hardly even scratched the surface of it. That was less than 10%. It takes about $35 to fill a propane tank, 30-pounder. So for those who are new or wondering about how long does it last, let me give you just a little guideline and tell you there's nothing really to worry about. We use ours more and more now for dry camping, about a quarter of the time to half the time, and it not only cuts down expenses at campgrounds, but it also means we're going to rely on our propane. So our propane is going to run the refrigerator and freezer, of course, when we're dry camping. It will keep it nice and cold, no problems, no issues at all. Also for the stove for cooking, and then for the furnace for heating, and then for the hot water heater. And then if you have an external propane line to a grill or a campfire, you would use that. We don't actually use those at all. I have a small portable grill just with a handle I can take out and use those 1-pound bottles. Lasts us virtually a whole trip. So we don't need that much for 2 people. So dry camping is where you're going to be using most of it. Now when we hook up to get ready to go on a trip, I don't turn my fridge and freezer on until right before we leave. Literally drive by the house, I'll turn it on at the storage unit, and we'll come by the house and get our food. Frozen food goes right in the fridge, at the freezer. All the cold food from the refrigerator goes right into the refrigerator. Everything is cold. I'll put a link down in the description for you on how I load up. It's called the Great Debate, pre-cooling your fridge and freezer. It's going to save you a lot of propane. Well, not a lot, it doesn't use that much, but why waste it? You don't need to. It's not unnecessary. Of course, we cook breakfast in the camper a lot, at least every other day, maybe every third day. I go ahead and make up bacon and sausage and eggs and all the good stuff that we like right on our stove. I've gotten more used to that. I cook most of my meals for dinner time, pull them out of the fridge, right into a frying pan, put a lid on it, a little moisture, a little water in there, and rewarm our meals that way. And when we're dry camping, of course, the fridge is always running. So when we're on the road as well, I leave my propane on all the time. So even when we're driving 2-3 hours, if we're on the road 4 hours, 5 hours a day, the fridge is running, so it's using propane. Now, one thing that you could do to conserve a little bit on that is you could, once you've packed up your refrigerator, it's maybe been on a couple hours, you put in cold food, put in frozen food, you could turn the fridge off. It will keep that stuff cool if you're not in there opening it up. It'll keep it cool for hours, and you don't have to worry about it. We do that on a 4-hour drive at night. I have turned it off once or twice, and just turn it back on when we get to where we're at, and go in there and look, and it hadn't dropped at all. It's a very, just check your seals on your fridge and freezer if you think there's an issue. When you use hot water to heat your hot water source, your hot water tank, once you've reached the temperature, you'll hear the burner turn off. It's warm, it's hot, it's reached its pre-measured heat, and it's not going to come on again until the temperature falls. We have turned ours off at night, and I never leave the propane heater for the hot water tank on. Once it's reached its temperature, it will stay warm hot for a couple of hours. There's no sense leaving it on like you do your home furnace. And overnight, we can get up in the morning and go in and turn on the hot water faucet, and we have warm water. So then it's a matter of just turn the switch on, let the hot water heater come up to temperature. You're great for showers and baths, so, if you have a bathroom or a bathtub. So we don't overuse that hot water heater switch at all. You just turn it off. It's got way more. It's a 6-gallon tank, so you're really not going to need that much hot water every 10 minutes. I'll put a link to how we stay warm as well. We don't use the furnace a lot when it's really cold. Once we've gotten to where we're at, I may turn the furnace on. We're dry camping now. I'm not hooked up to any shore power. Let it warm up a little bit in there. It heats up fairly quickly. Turn it off, and then I'll turn one burner on the stove. I'll put a link to how we stay warm, how I do that. So we use very little propane that way. The main thing that I wanted to get across here is that it actually uses very little propane. If you're going to be hooking up an external grill and running that propane to cook your meals on a regular basis, you're going to obviously notice a quicker drop in your propane tank. What I'd suggest is get a little nitpicky the first time. Just keep a little pencil and pad and make a note of how long you ran your Blackstone grill, whatever kind of grill you have, to see what kind of a drain it does on your tanks. And if you'll do that, then you'll know that I can do this about 10 days or 20 days, whatever it takes. But you have another tank. I highly recommend, if you don't have 2 tanks, get a second tank. But most of the Rockwood mini lights, all of them come with 2. Flagstaff, the majority out there, R-Pod, all kinds. That will make life so much easier, and you can search online for places that sell propane while you're on the road. You can find those and fill up. So I'm going to go ahead. I have a little clip that I did on one of our trips just to give you an idea of the length of time it takes, and that will I think that'll fill you in. Also, I'll put a link down to another video on checking your propane lines on the outside. I discovered I had a leak in one of those, and I highly suggest you check that periodically, especially when you change out your tanks. Okay, so without further ado, I'll do that little clip, and you guys have a great time. Have a safe one out there on the road, and maybe we'll bump into each other. Alrighty, bye now. And I wanted to add, on this trip that we took, 40 days, 5,509 miles, I only, on the very last morning when we were Walmart camping in Colby, Kansas, that one cylinder ran out just as we had finished making coffee and all that, and we're sitting there warming up. All of a sudden, no flames. So that's 2 30-pound tanks. So one 30-pound tank lasted us 40 days. We cooked inside. We ran the heater a few times. When I was dry camping, the propane was running the refrigerator all the time. So one tank is going to go a long, long way. And you're never going to be that far away that you can't get another bottle if you only had one 30-pound. But 2 30-pounds, we could have gone 70 to 80 days. And without the cold weather, because the furnace uses the most propane of all, we could have gone way longer, and we have. I've gone 50 on a 50-day trip, and we never used one. So we'll clean it up. We're back in Aurora for a while, and then okay, well, out of school season starts. So I hope to get back out there soon. All right, you guys have a good one, and take care.